Let's start right away and get into the best ways to get from level 1 to 99 prayer in OldSchool RuneScape. Now, early levels can be skipped by completing quests that give prayer experience. Completing the Restless Ghost, Priest and Peril, Recruitment Drive, and Holy Grail will grant you a total of 14,531 prayer experience, which will be enough to get you from level 1 to 30 prayer if you started that way. Route number 1 is the Gilded Altar. When both incense burners are lit, the altar gives you a 350% experience bonus per bone. For example, burying a dragon bone gives 72 prayer experience. But when you use it on a gilded altar with 2 incense burners lit, it'll give you 252 experience. While this method is the fastest way to train prayer, it is also very expensive. Those of you who seek to save money are advised to offer bones at the Chaos Altar in the wilderness instead, as this is only slightly slower but offers twice as much experience per bone when compared to the Gilded Altar. You should also use the plugin called Menu Entry Swapper on RuneLite to change the berry options on your bones to use. Building a Gilded Altar requires 75 construction, which can be boosted. The tier of incense burner does not matter. All 3 types, which are oak, mahogany, and marble, yield the same experience bonus and remain lit for the same amount of time. Lighting an incense burner requires level 30 fire making and a Marentil herb, and both incense burners must be lit for the highest experience bonus. It is also recommended to have level 45 magic for Camelot Teleport and Teleport to House. Now, those of you who do not have the construction level to build a Gilded Altar can use the altar of a house party host. The official worlds for hosted Gilded Altars are 330 US East, 465 Germany, and 512 UK at the Remington House portal. You can take noted bones and unnote them by using them on files for 5 coins per note, who is located in the house next to the portal. Experience rates vary depending on the type of bone used and performance. With good banking and accurate clicks, you can offer around 2,550 bones per hour, assuming you use each bone manually on the altar. This equates to around 1,340,000 experience per hour when using superior dragon bones, and 643,000 experience per hour when using dragon bones. Now, these rates can be increased to up to 3,500 bones per hour if using alternative accounts to light the incense burners and bringing bones from the bank, or even higher if you hire runners. I do want to mention, if you do not manually use the bones on the altar, you can do it much more AFK, but you can do only 1,070 bones per hour, and to put it in shorter terms, use dragon bones on a lit gilded altar manually if you want to have the fastest experience, and hire runners as well to do that. If not, you can do a little bit more of an AFK method and let them place themselves on the altar once you click on the first bone. If you have quite a bit of money to burn, you'll get faster experience using superior dragon bones once you unlock them at level 70 prayer. Did you know that there's a few Discord servers that are dedicated on giving GP out? One way players make a lot of GP without necessarily playing in game is by entering giveaways that usually occur on YouTube videos, streams, social media posts, or Discord servers. Here's an example of a giveaway-based Discord server that gives hundreds of millions of GP, if not billions of GP away weekly. Everything they do is completely free to enter, and they also track any Twitch streamers that have giveaway in their title and have a notifier for anyone who's interested in that type of content. I'll leave a link in the description for those of you guys who want to join and have a passive way to make some GP. Chaos Altar. Offering bones at the altar within the Chaos Temple in the wilderness is a slightly slower, but a much cheaper alternative to the Gilded Altar. The temple is located in level 38 wilderness, in a multi-combat area, so great caution must be exercised while employing this training method. The temple has an altar which grants you 350% experience per bone offered at it, the same experience as a Gilded Altar with 2 burners lit. But the cool thing about this is it gives a 50% chance for your bone to not be consumed. This effectively doubles the amount of experience received per bone. However, using the altar comes at the risk of having to face player killers who frequently like to hop between worlds at the location. You can take noted bones and unnote them at the Elder Chaos Druid just outside of the temple for 50 coins per note. While convenient, this also increases the amount that you have to be risking to player killers. If you wish to minimize your risk, you could take an inventory of unnoted bones at a time and suicide to bank for more bones. The fastest way to get to the altar is to use a Gorak Teleport and run south. Those of you who do not have the magic level to cast Gorak Teleport can use the respective teleport tablet instead. Another option is to use the Cemetery Teleport on the Arceus Spellbook. This is a slightly slower method, but it has lower requirements. Using the Burning Amulet is one of my favorite ways to get up there, by teleporting to the lava maze entrance and running southwest. Your experience rates vary depending on the bone used and the number of player killers you encounter. You can expect to make around 2,000 bone offers per hour when manually using the bones on the altar. This would equate to around 500,000 experience per hour using dragon or wyvern bones, and 1,050,000 experience per hour using superior dragon bones. At maximum efficiency and when uninterrupted, it is possible to gain up to 1.8 million experience per hour when using superior dragon bones. There's also an option for you to use runners here as well, which will offer you slightly higher rates. As the altar can be used to recharge prayer points, it is smart to keep Protect from Magic and Augury prayers up when offering bones and pray at the altar when needed. Now, for those of you guys who really wish to minimize risk, you can travel to the altar from the bank for every inventory of the bones, and suicide to get to the bank faster. While this is less risky than bringing noted bones to the altar, it is also slower. For this method, it is strongly recommended to have your respawn point in the Ferox Enclave or Edgeville. They are the closest respawn points to a bank, but also cost 5 million coins to unlock. This method goes as follows. Take bones, a teleport to the wilderness, and optionally a locator orb or a dwarven rock cake from the bank. Teleport to the wilderness and run to the Chaos Temple. Then offer the bones at the altar. Lower your hit points with the locator orb or the dwarven rock cake and suicide to the Wine of Zamrock spawn. Alternatively, you can let the Chaos Fanatic kill you. Run from the respawn point to the nearest bank for more bones and repeat the process. You can optionally wear a piece of defensive equipment, such as the Din's Bulwark. This way, you'll have a better chance of surviving player killers long enough that you can use up all your bones before dying. Alternatively, you can wear Zealot's robes from the Shades of Morton minigame when using the suicide strategy. The bone saving effect of the altar stacks with the Zealot's robes, and wearing them would give slightly more value out of the bones. Logging out. If you wish to avoid encounters with player killers, an option is to keep the logout menu open with the cursor placed over the logout button. Consider using the render self chat interface setting to hide your character model on your own client, allowing you to see anyone who logs in beneath you. With careful attention, you can quickly log out before being attacked. Now, the disadvantage to this method is that it offers lower experience per hour than manually using the bones on the altar. Bringing noted bones is riskier but a lot faster than using the suicide method. However, it is only viable for either high level or very low level players. Very low combat players between level 3 and 20 combat are often too low level to be targeted by a player killer, meaning you can usually bring higher amounts of noted bones with lower risk. However, some low-level combat pure player killers can sometimes be found at the altar, so some caution should still be given. High-level players should wear good defensive gear, while 3 or 4 iteming more expensive armor pieces, and bring some Saradomin brews along with Sanfu serums or super restores to have a higher chance of escaping player killers. You will also have very limited space for supplies, as it is best to have as much inventory space as possible for your bones. Gear setup can vary depending on how much money you have available. It is generally best to prioritize magic defense while having decent defensive bonuses against melee and ranged attacks. When choosing protected items, the fortified Masori body or the Armadillo chestplate, a tank shield such as an Elysian or Spectral Spirit Shield, or Din's Bulwark, and the Staff of the Dead are considered the best options. The rest of the equipment should consist of fairly cheap or easily replaceable items that you aren't afraid to lose. Now, what about the absolute fastest way to get 99 prayer? As a warning, the faster XP is not worth the massive amount of money this would cost. But if you so decide to, this method is entirely for people with millions to burn, and who need that 99 prayer quickly. From level 1 to 70, use Org Bones on a gilded altar. This would come out to 1,506 Org Bones, costing 115 million GP as of the time I'm writing this guide. Assuming you can use 2,500 bones on the altar per hour, this would equal to about 1.2 million experience per hour. From level 70 to 99, you should use superior dragon bones on the gilded altar. To get to 99, this would be 23,423 bones, costing you a total of 347 million GP as of writing this guide. This method will be around 1.3 million experience per hour. But after this, you'll have a new 99 and be about 460 million GP down. Anything for experience, right? Now, these experience rates that I just went over are not counting if you have a runner and are going for the maximum experience per hour. Now, what about some other alternative ways to train your prayer? With prayer being such a big skill, there's so many different ways you can approach it. The absolute cheapest way is by passive training. This method takes almost no additional time, especially when combined with Slayer training or similar areas where you plan to stay for a long time without banking your drops. This would be done by bearing bones that you get from monsters, offering bones at the Ectofuntus. Worshipping the Ectofuntus gives 400% more normal experience. Although this is the second highest guaranteed per bone prayer bonus in the game, this is much less than the 700% theoretical average experience at the Chaos Altar. This is due to the 50% chance of the Chaos Altar not consuming bones. The Libation Bow will either match the 400% increase in experience per bone or exceed it, depending on the bone sacrificed and whether or not Sunfire Wine is used. The Ectofuntus is a less common method of training prayer due to it being much slower and not much cheaper than Gilded Altars, but it can be sped up considerably with the daily rewards provided by the Mortania Diaries. Bone Crusher. With the Bone Crusher or Bone Crusher necklace, if you defeat a monster that drops bones, the Bone Crusher will automatically crush them, granting you half the prayer experience you would have received from burying the bones themselves, or the full amount of experience if the Elite Mortania Diary is completed and consuming 1 charge. Ash Sanctifier. With the Ash Sanctifier when charged with death runes, if you kill a monster that drops ashes, the Sanctifier will automatically scatter them, granting you half the prayer experience you would have received from scattering the ashes yourself, or you'll get the full amount of experience if you have the Elite Koren and Kebo's diary completed. Ectoplasmator. With the Ectoplasmator, if you kill a spectral creature such as an Aberrant Spectre, you'll receive prayer experience equal to 20% of the monster's max health, rounded down. The Ectoplasmator requires 40 prayer, and it is a reward from the Soul Wars minigame for 250 Zeal tokens. In addition, the Ectoplasmator stacks with the Bone Crusher when killing a spectral monster that also drops bones, like Yankus. Bird's Eggs. Occasionally while woodcutting or emptying birdhouses, a bird's nest containing red, green, or blue bird's eggs can be obtained. These can be offered to the shrine at the Woodcutting Guild for 100 prayer experience each, allowing some passive experience while training other skills. Demonic Offering. Since the 3 highest level Slayer Masters assign at least 120 Abyssal Demons as a minimum, you can expect at least 30,600 prayer experience per task if casting the Demonic Offering spell on Abyssal Ashes, making that particular task a great passive training method for those of you who melee the monsters. Also, you may collect the Abyssal Ashes from the floor in worlds where there is another player barraging for a low intensity and cheap method to train your prayer. Offering to the Libation Bowl. To do this method, the bones you normally obtain as drops must be blessed at the exposed altar, then broken down into blessed bone shards with the chisel. The amount of shards received is dependent on the type of bone blessed. With active effort, which would be clicking the chisel and bones, around 4,000 bones can be unnoted, blessed, and broken down per hour. With AFK bone breaking, you can expect rates of up to 1,000 bones per hour. Jugs of wine must also be blessed at the exposed altar into jugs of blessed wine, which are then filled at the libation bowl. Alternatively, 2 sunfire splinters can be used on a jug of wine to convert it into a jug of sunfire wine, which becomes a jug of blessed sunfire wine when brought to the exposed altar. Now, take note that both variants of the blessed wine cannot be stored in your bank. With active effort, around adding sunfire splinters to around 6,000 wines per hour can be expected. Automatic creation of sunfire wines takes 2.4 seconds each, so 1,500 wines per hour would be the theoretical limit, as 1 jug of wine is needed for every 400 bone shards. The highest number of bone shards that can be sacrificed in one trip is 10,800, assuming you have only bone shards and jugs of blessed wine in your inventory. Each blessed bone shard provides 5 prayer experience, or 6 if blessed sunfire wine was used to fill the libation bowl. 400 blessed bone shards can be offered before the libation bowl must be refilled. Additionally, each offering requires 2 prayer points, which you can recharge your prayer at the Shrine of Ralos in the southern building. The Zealot's robes are highly recommended for sacrificing shards, as the preservation chance is calculated for an individual shard rather than the entire set of 100 for every action, though this still uses a charge of the libation bowl. Aside from monster remains, there are alternative ways of obtaining blessed bone shards. For example, mining calcified rocks in the Cam Torim mine is a relatively AFK method of receiving bone shards. Around 2,200 shards can be banked per hour. This includes trips to break down calcified deposits, netting around 11,000 to 13,200 banked prayer experience per hour. The math on how much experience per bone is complicated and weird, but just know it's roughly 400% per bone without sunfire wines, and 500% with sunfire wines. When doing this method, you should always use sunfire wines because it ends up being less GP per experience. Requiring level 30 prayer, offering blessed bone shards to the libation bowl within the Tiamat is slightly slower, but offers more experience per bone compared to the Gilded Altar. Sinister Offering. With the upgraded Archaea spellbook from A Kingdom Divided, you can offer bones or demonic ashes from your inventory, offering you simultaneous magic experience. Reanimating Ensouled Heads. Reanimating Ensouled Heads and killing the reanimated monsters near the Dark Altar is a relatively slow training method, but it requires less effort than manually offering bones at a gilded altar or the chaos altar. This method is mainly recommended for those of you who wish to save money on prayer training and do not wish to go to the wilderness, as offering bones at the chaos altar offers a lot faster experience and is usually comparable in terms of cost. For this method, using fairy ring CIS for faster access to the dark altar and a fast access to fairy rings, such as having a fairy ring in your player-owned house, a quest point cape, or if you're using the Salve Graveyard Teleport, is highly recommended. Having the rune pouch is strongly recommended to save inventory space. It is also recommended to buy ensouled heads in advance, as most of them have a low trade volume on the Grand Exchange. Experience rates will vary depending on the type of ensouled head you use and your combat stats. With high combat stats, you can reanimate up to 220 ensouled heads per hour. This equates to around 343,000 prayer experience per hour when reanimating ensouled dragon heads. Higher rates can be achieved by using a cannon to kill the reanimated monsters faster, but this makes the method slightly more expensive. You will also gain some passive combat and magic experience from doing this method. And now you're a master at the prayer skill. And as a gift, I'm gonna toss one of you 10,000 dragon bones. Just like the video, leave something positive in the comment section below so I know how to contact you, and be sure to subscribe. Also, be sure to click on the screen right now and continue your RuneScape mastery journey. I've made a guide for every 99 in Old School RuneScape.